Sawasdee and thank you to everyone to attending the ITAP Voice of the Market Thailand Digital Roadshow. My name is Nupat. I will be your host for today. The Voice of the Market Thailand is a co-organized by German Thai Chamber of Commerce and Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific or ITAP, a Hannover-Messe event as a part of the lead-up for ITAP 2022 in Singapore Expo on 18 to 20 of October. It aims to create opportunities for collaborations and overcome industry challenges. ITAP 2022 is endorsed by government agency, industry leaders, and experts to support regional manufacturers and local enterprises on their digitization journeys. The Thailand Roadshow highlights the latest trends and developments in Thailand's automation industry. Key discussion will focus on realizing the BCG model, which necessitates breakthroughs in innovation, manufacturing techniques, automation, and robotics. I would like to introduce and start this session by welcoming Mr. Darren Say, Folio Director of Industrial Transformation at Constella, to deliver the opening remarks. Over to you, Darren.
Thank you, Nobat. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today in this Voice of the Market Thailand Roadshow in collaboration with the German Thai Chamber of Commerce. I would like to thank GTCC for collaborating with us to curate this session. Thank you, Mr. Michael Welser, the President of GTCC, for being with us here today. I would also like to thank Mr. Tawi Pawanakon, the board member of the Thai Automation and Robotics Association, TARA, for their support at this roadshow. Today's session is part of the lead-up for ITAP 2022 to create opportunities for collaboration and overcome industry challenges. As a business platform, Industrial Automation Asia Pacific, ITAP for short, aims to help companies understand the importance of Industry 4.0 in enabling effective and efficient work processes. ITAP 2022 is a strategic platform for manufacturers, technology providers, and thought leaders to exchange ideas and best practices, build new networks, and catalyze opportunities for innovation. ITAP was not created just as another trade show, but as a platform to shape the learning, development, and adoption of I 4.0. As we move into its fifth edition, ITAP 2022 takes a deep dive into trends and developments in three key dimensions, focusing on digitization, talent and workforce development, and environmental sustainability. These areas influence the magnitude of sustainable business development for advanced manufacturing and its related sectors locally, regionally, and globally. ITAP 2022 is designed as a transformation journey comprising of integrated on and offline programs and activities for targeted audience groups across multiple industry sectors and markets. From curated guided tours offering a walkthrough of key highlights of the exhibition to experience zones where attendees can have a hands-on the latest I 4.0 products. There is something for everyone to address their different needs, levels of understanding, and adoption. Of particular highlight this year is the International Connect Zone, participated by more than 5 countries and 60 companies. We hope to spur international business conversations to take place at this zone. ITAP 2022 will be held on 18th to 20th October. Please visit our website, industrialtransformation.com, for more information. Back to today's program, specifically curated for Thailand's market to bring you the latest updates from the Thai perspective. We have an exciting lineup showcasing technological capabilities and expertise in industrial automation and sustainability. Please enjoy this session, and we look forward to welcoming you to ITAP 2022 this October. Back to you, Nupat.
Thank you, Darren. Next, let us welcome Mr. Michael Welser, President of German Thai Chamber of Commerce, or GTCC, to deliver the opening remarks. The floor is yours, Mr. Welser.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. dear Mr. Darren Sear, the Executive Director of Consular Exhibitions, dear speakers, dear supporting partners from associations, institutes, and bilateral chambers, the audiences. It is my great pleasure today to welcome all of you to our online event, ITAP Thailand Automation 4.0 Forum. Given that the German Thai Chamber of Commerce is the official representative of Deutsche Messe and as thus Hannover Messe in Thailand, we are more than delighted to actively support this world-class event worldwide, including Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific ITAP. Amidst major challenges for the post-pandemic world, including a slowdown of global growth and climate change, we bear witness to significant changes in the world, especially in the business sectors. It's therefore vital, now more than ever, for the Thai businesses to learn, adapt, and stay afloat in this uncharted water. Businesses need not only to ensure operational efficiency for further growth, but also to ensure their business practices are sustainable and environmentally friendly. Thailand 4.0 strategy and the biocircular green model, so-called BCG model, hold great importance in realizing above agendas as they guide Thai business to maintain its competitive edge and contribute to the fight against climate change. Here, ITAP Thailand Automation 4.0 Forum plays a crucial role in providing both virtual spaces for businesses and other relevant stakeholders to connect, interact, exchange ideas, and evaluate progresses we have made over the years. It is only through interaction, communication, and collaboration that we forge partnerships, can create business opportunities, and learn from each other. Today, we are thrilled to have the opportunity to gain insights from industry experts, particularly with a focus on industrial automation, automotive, electric vehicles, electrical and electronics, and how to guide factory operations by using the BCG model approach. This year's forum is especially worth attending as one gets to see how different topics above intertwine. The BCG model, for an example, covers the value chain of major S-curve industries, namely agriculture and biotechnology, food processing, low carbon transportation, and medical technology. The German Thai Chamber of Commerce, as an active supporter of Thai German and international businesses, welcomes the opportunity to be part of this journey forward. GTCC is also proactively driving the topic of dual vocational education and training in Thailand, based on German standards to produce skilled workforce to accommodate S-curve investments and long-term growth, for example, in the field of electric vehicles. On a final note, I would like to thank Consular, the organizer of this event, Hannover Messe, our international partner, all supporting partners and all speakers for contributing to this event. And of course, I would like to thank the audience as well for joining us today. I wish all of us an interesting and insightful event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Welser, for your kind opening remarks. Next up, we have a video showcasing the ITAP 2022 events. So please enjoy the video. Thank you. I hope the video had give you the good impression of ITAP and that the video also set the tone for today's conference. Without further ado, may I joining together with our audience to welcome our first speakers, Mr. Tavi Pawanakon, board member of Thai Automation and Robotics Association, also called TARA, to deliver the opening keynote address. Mr. Tavi, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Industrial Transformation, Asia Pacific 2022. And this is Thailand session. The main topic for today is Thailand embracing automation technology as it should. Before we go to the topic about automation, I would like to introduce players or organizations which related to automation. And Thailand is one of them. Thailand stands for Thai Automation and Robotics Association. Thailand is a place that Thai companies who specialize in automation and robotic system or Thai automation system indicator are gathering together with following mission. First, Thailand is a center in automation and robotics for members and for everyone. Thailand is a center between demand side and supply side, between customer, supplier, between buyer and seller as well. Secondly, Thailand create cooperation between members and partners. For example, CORE, TGI, BOI. I will introduce CORE, TGI, BOI later. And this is current board members of Thailand who drive Thailand to reach the target. I'm here in the meeting. We have our Thailand president, Dr. Papin Apitnolaset. I would like to say thank you for all of his support for the first day of Thailand up to today, so that Thailand is going up stronger every day. And these are Thailand members. We are about 100 companies at the moment. We specialize in system integration, robotics, automated guided vehicle, software, IoT, ERP, AI, vision system, and etc. And these are industry in target of Thailand, where it is almost of every industry. As I informed earlier that Thailand has three important alliances. The first one is TGI, the second one is BOI, the last one is CORE. CORE stands for Center of Robotic Excellence, where it consists of 15 technology universities. CORE takes responsibility on producing engineer or manpower education to be an input for the industry. And TGI is Thai Human Institute, who work closely together with CORE on manpower development as well. And BOI stands for the Board of Investment of Thailand. The mission of BOI is to plan investment by providing information for business operation and give incentive. Incentive is very much interesting, isn't it? These are some players who drive automation industry in Thailand. And this is a BOI incentive. I will not go in detail, but you can get it later on. And let's get back to the question. Is Thailand embracing automation technology as it should? What step it has been taken, and what areas still have room for improvement? To answer the question, I firstly would like to refer to Thailand Industry 4.0. The Industry 4.0 is the key methodology to drive Thai economics, where the Federation of Thai Industry, or FTI, has announced the Thailand Industry Strategy called Thailand Ecosystem 4.0. Thailand Ecosystem 4.0 consists of 10+2 cluster model. And this is 10+2 cluster, where it consists of the following cluster. For example, agriculture, food industry, healthcare, electronic, automation, defense, education. And robotic industry is in one of 10+2 cluster. Automation and robotics start to play a role in the industry because they are highly demand to solve labor problem. We have a lot of labor problem at the moment. For example, labor shortage. Some jobs are dangerous, some jobs require speed and time saving. And automation or robotics is the solution. So Thailand has growing demand for automation and robotics for industry transformation. And Thailand moving ahead with this 10 plus to cluster development. And it is the engine to drive the economy to the future, to be an innovation-driven economy or industry 4.0. And this is a big chance for investor and for technology provider to join for Thailand industry transformation. And this is Thailand 4.0 engine of growth model. As you can see here, Thailand 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. The Federation of Thai Industry has formulated a strategy called Strategy to Drive Industry 4.0. There are 4 strategies. The strategy for demand side, the second is strategy for supply side, third is the strategy for infrastructure side, and the last one is strategy for funding side or money, which is very important. If you don't have money, nothing can be done, isn't it? In supply side, automation system integrator get incentive from UI, where they can have tax exemption for 5 years. On demand side, BOI have a program called Production Efficiency Improvement Program. You can apply to improve your production efficiency by installing robotics and automation. If you do that, you can get 50% of corporate tax exempt for 3 years. And this is a way to promote Thailand to be Industry 4.0. And it is also the answer for the question, what has been done in Thailand. But anyway, Thailand does not reach Industry 4.0 as the plan yet. Thailand still are somewhere at 2.0 up to 3.0. And if you see the gap between 2.0 and 4.0, that means you see the chance, and it is opportunity. Thailand populations are about 70 million person, and about 70% of Thailand population are do agriculture, and they are about 2.0 only. Can you see the opportunity? And there are about 50,000 factories in Thailand, and there are about 2.0 or 3.0 only. And these factories need to transform to be 4.0. Can you see the chance? Can you see the opportunity? Can you answer the question if there is a room for investment? I tell you guys that there's a big room to enter to Thailand. And it's not a big room, but it is a huge room. There's a good demand from many years ago and now on. And this is the question for the, and this is the answer for the question, what areas still have room for improvement? And I would like to say that almost every area is needed for improvement in Thailand. And this is the way to contact Thala. Please feel free to scan it and welcome everyone to join Thala. Anyone, whether you are investor, technology provider, technology distributor, or professor, and just you think to do anything related to automation in Thailand, please contact Thala. Or just you think that you're gonna have automation in your company or factory for better of your life, for better of your competitive advantage, just you contact Thala as well. Thala will guide you to reach your target. And if you get incentive from BOI or get supported from core, I am sure that your productivity will definitely increase. By that, you should have more profit. And when you have more profit, you feel happy, and you and when you feel happy, Thala also feel happy. And this what I would like to share to you all for today. Get vaccinated and stay safe. See you next time. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับคุณนุพัฒน์ครับ
ขอบคุณมากครับ Thank you, Mr. Tuvi, for the very motivative opening keynote address. Our next session is a case study on digital transformation on manufacturing from shop floor to top floor and back. Brought to you by Mr. Andy Hancock, Global Vice President, Center of Excellence, SAP Digital Supply Chain. Please, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. In today's session, we're going to talk about digital transformation of manufacturing, from that shop floor up to the top floor where the executives make those actionable insights that make it all the way back to the shop floor. My name is Andy Hancock, and I'm a Global Vice President for the Center of Excellence here at SAP in the digital supply chain line of business. So when we think about it, what is going on and what is the technology and strategy that is modernizing manufacturing? We hear a lot about Industry 4, but what is it doing to our manufacturing processes? Well, really, there are a lot of traditional data silos in organizations. They've been collected and they're used and consumed within those individual business units. But what Industry 4 does is it helps bridge those silos and turn it into a data-driven business process. With that, innovation has an opportunity to grow, and business processes can be modernized and streamlined to meet today's demand from the market. Now, consider that you have already got mountains of data already in your organization. So how do we actually turn them into smart decisions? We've got to consider the digital thread, the multiple digital twins that you have within an organization, and let the data do the work for you rather than being a millstone around your neck. Well, why is there such a drive for Industry 4? Well, when we think of three very distinct things that are occurring in the world today at the moment, you know, we've all suffered the extreme disruption and volatility of markets with the pandemic over the last 2 years. We've seen trade wars, we've seen lack of resources and lack of personnel. We've seen that there's been a dramatic evolution of the workforce. People do not want to do the jobs that they were doing before. We've got to entice them with different methods and opportunities for them to cross-train and upskill in order to bring them back into the workforce. And then we can see that there is a very strong multi-level sustainability agenda at the moment. Consumers are becoming more informed, and just having labeling that just says I have a recycled product, what they're asking for is digging deeper into your supply chain and understanding your scope 3 capabilities. So Industry 4 isn't just about the shop floor. It really has an irradiating effect across your entire business ecosystem. It helps you become that intelligent, sustainable enterprise. It provides better customer and employee experience while they're interacting with you. And it also enables you to connect to a larger ecosystem to get the advantage that a collaborative space does. If we extend that out and we look across your entire business, you can see that Industry 4 is really the platform of capability. We have technology enablers such as IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning. That then enables us to build out various aspects. And in an SAP world, we have things like intelligent products, intelligent assets, intelligent factories, and empowering people. These help us define different strategies within Industry 4 itself. We see that when we think about a sustainable enterprise, the intelligence is not just at that shop floor, but it goes from the front office through the entire supply chain and into the back office, such as HR for empowered people and your procurement and finance areas. We think about extending the capability of your offerings. That's when we think about service management and employee health and safety, by giving you the opportunity to generate new offerings and generate new revenue streams. We also then consider the global business network, the collaboration space, being able to pull expertise from multiple places, giving you the ability to be resilient, but also agile in a very volatile market that we have today. So when we talk about how the effect of Industry 4 is on products, and it actually turns them into intelligent products. You know, traditional products we knew nothing about, but an intelligent product provides a vast amount of data, not only just the performance, but also usage and its impact on the area that it's in. When we think about empowering people, you know, in a transactional world, people just did the same job forever. But data can help better match skills with individuals and also give them opportunities in markets as technology shifts through future. Industry 4 lets you build anything, anywhere, anytime in intelligent factories. Traditional factories aren't built to change at a moment's notice, but now data and technology can help you be agile with your global operations and turn them into capabilities rather than I just build widget A in factory A and widget B in factory B. Industry 4 lets you listen to your assets. You know, a traditional transactional asset just worked until it failed. But now with digital data, Industry 4 will be able to bring information about the useful remaining life and the health of that asset. And the asset itself tells you when it's about to fail. I wanted to give you an example of a successful intelligent factory customer of ours. Smart Press Shop is a joint venture between Porsche and Schuler. And what they've done is their objective is to design a factory that is agile, paperless, and has the ability to change at a moment's notice when pressing automotive parts. Underlying that, they have a sustainability credential by ensuring that the factory is run on 100% renewable energy. So when we think of Industry 4, what is SAP's approach? Well, really, it's all about visibility. It's connecting the entire company, whether or not that's design and engineering to logistics to manufacturing, or even to the service entities post-sales. Look at moving into a data-driven business rather than relying on individual business owners traditionally manipulating the data that they're collected. Design digital threads and digital twins, whether or not they're product digital twins or even process digital twins. And then consider when standardization and scale. So if you have to move across and generate multiple factories, if you provide standardization, your agility and visibility increases and gives you that competitive edge. I'd like to say thank you very much. And if you would like further information, please contact me at my email address you can see on this page or my telephone number directly. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Andy. Moving on to our next session featuring a fireside chat session. Mr. Glenn, Group Partner from Tandem X Singapore, will lead the discussion with experts from the automotive, electrics, and electronics industry. The discussion will touch upon how to keep pace with market requirement, an area of partnership and collaboration, making Thailand the prominent productive hub for EV and E&E. Over to you now, Glenn.
Thanks so much, Newpart, and a good day to everyone. I'm very delighted today to be able to host four very, very renowned individuals. I will start to introduce them. Firstly, we have Dr. Nuwong Cholakup. Dr. Nuwong is a board member for the Academic Conference of the Electric Vehicle Association of Thailand. If there's one way to remember Nuwong, it's all about biofuels and sustainable mobility. Now, he's won a number of awards and also been involved in helping to shape biodiesel standards as well as that for electric vehicles. So, Nuwong, welcome to today's session. Second, we have Ms. Kessica Suti V. Riyakul. I hope I got your name right. Forgive me if I didn't. Right, and she is the commercial and sales leader for 989 Auto Innotech company. They have their expertise in system integration or automation within factories, as well as also being involved in civil and construction works specifically related to the factory infrastructure. She has more than 20 years of expertise in the machine tools business and has got a very interesting set of degrees. Yeah, nothing to do with engineering though, law and history, double degree. So very, very interesting, but has a master's in logistics and supply chain. So welcome, Jessica. Next, we have Mr. Niwat Pansi Pakum. He is the Vice President for the Electrical and Electronics Institute of Thailand, a gentleman who you will know as the one involved with technology management, strategic planning, policy research and standards in the electronics industry. And he'll be the one we can look to as far as, what is the direction of Thailand's government. That will be the gentleman to reach out to. So welcome, Niwat. And next, we have an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, Chachai Pulmun. He is the managing director for two companies, Brainworks, as well as another company called Robo Motion Technique. And he also sits on the board for the Thai German Institute. So welcome, Chachai. All right. So in regard to today's session, we have two sections. One is the electric vehicle in Thailand, and another one is the electrical and electronics industry in Thailand. So I want to start off with the EV industry first. So Dr. Nuwon, question for you, right? Would you give us a little bit of a view of what the EV market looks like, given that I did get a chance to speak to Krista, who is also from this industry and this specific association about a year back. How has the EV market evolved in the last couple of years?
Thank you very much, Glenn. So I just joined in. I think the EV market in Thailand is now on a very interesting upward trend. I think we can hear, even though we have government has been trying to push forward this EV policy in the past, I would say 3 to 4 years. And it's actually particularly kicking off when we have this National Electric Vehicle Policy Committee that was established 2 years ago, that's actually headed by the Deputy Prime Minister himself. And then at the moment, we have the change in the Deputy Prime Minister, and the one that heading this EV committee now is actually Mr. G. So it's very much, I think, pushing many of the policy forward from the supply side. I think BOI, Board of Investment, has been giving a lot of incentive package, for the automotive industry to investment for EV and charging station, as well as also I think many of the related industry. But until I think a few months ago, I think this is the first time in the history of Thailand that actually the government is part of what we call the demand side incentive. That we actually have the Department of Excise Tax having the package to actually reduce the price of the EV. Before that, Thailand is very, I think it had to be conservative about reducing the price, because we have been the top for the internal combustion engine car manufacturing. So we want to make sure we balance both between the existing industry and also the transition industry to the EV. But with I think the decision made a few months ago during the Motor Expo in April, then we have this demand side subsidy that we can reduce the price by 70,000 baht or 150,000 baht. That would be depending on how much battery you have in the battery vehicle, on the condition that those industry or those companies that sign the deal that has a lower price have to produce back in 3 to 5 years. I think that's why I think the booking for the EV, I think in April, I think has been skyrocketing, and all the EV companies said, "Oh, we have to stop it because of the shortage of logistics of the IC around the world, and they cannot produce and deliver enough to the customer." So I think right now I think is the EV outlook in Thailand is very hot issue, and I think, and our association, I think we have been speaking in many of the platform online, off-site now because on-site now because we have the reduction of the COVID situation. So I think that it will be good for the industry to really join in this government policy direction.
No, thanks so much, Nuwon. And it's very interesting that you mentioned how the government has shifted from a supply side incentive play to a demand. And we all know that demand drives supply. So when you hit that demand side, as you would see in China, because China is the biggest EV player, as we know, where the government, to your point, has also driven the demand side incentive. And that has driven the industry to another level. And I think we're going to see that in Thailand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
So I just wanted to also ask Kessica a question, and I know you've been literally within the supply chain as far as the EV industry is concerned. Kessica, would you share a little bit about how that has impacted your company, given that you're in the space of automation and things like that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mr. Ken. For I study for the supply chain as you present to me. For the supply chain, you must to focus like is for the so sorry. Any person know for the disrupt from the COVID, right? And this time have an effect from the chip, some chip. And I have a case study of the big automotive in Thailand have a short supply for the IC, and many companies have the problems like that. And this time I have the solution, the new solution for the data. I don't know many person for know about the data mining.
Yes,
Do you know
data
the
mining.
mining?
Yeah.
Yeah, and any person know about the process mining. I think is for the EV to the transformation to the EV. We must do about the study or the learning or the understanding for the data mining, because if you have the some chip for the loss, some right like that, or if you have the data mining, you can solve the problem and you can prepare your business. And because the data mining to the forecast any process, any part, anything for the EV, I think is the data at the everything. Data is the king, right? Is the main content like this. So that means I think the data mining and the web monitoring on any data is very important. And if you can analysis of the data, you can is the win of the business. So that means EV have many electric part in there, right? If you control of the supply chain and you can analysis of the any part, any process, you is the win of the business, I think.
No, thank you so much.
Okay,
yeah, and I think very interesting, Kessica, as you mentioned, because the MD in this earlier speech did speak about data-driven decisions, right? I spent a good amount of time in the manufacturing industry myself, and I know the biggest challenge is, like you mentioned, how do I look at a forecast and use the forecast to plan my manufacturing? And of course, the forecast links to your supply chain, isn't it? And so if you have one component, let's call that the chip, as we know in today's terms, right? Nothing can leave your factory. So you have a lot of inventory, but nothing goes out the door. And people always say, hey, how do you get it just in time as much as we can so that you don't have too much inventory on hold, and at the same time, you can maximize your capacity to the best, isn't it?
Yes, because I have one customer have a big problem because a loss of the only one chip. He cannot to produce the big product like that.
No, brilliant. No, thank you for that. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and move towards the electrical and electronic space, given that we talk about chips. So we can go into that space now. So, Niwat, I wanted to ask you this question, right? I know that in your EEI, which is Electrical and Electronics Institute, you have a certain focus around 8, if I'm not mistaken, 8 different industry sectors. And would you share a little bit about that and what does your institute do?
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Actually, we are the main authority in the electrical and electronics industry in Thailand. However, my organization will take care of some kind of the human development in the automation and robotics sector as well, and some kind of electronics, medical device. And since EI is one member of the Center of Robotic Excellence or CORE, CORE, so we got some budget from the Ministry of Industry and for this project, especially in the making the cluster of the system integrator to have the class, and we join them together to make some prototype product. As in this year, we join with many universities like Khon Kaen, Chiang Mai, and Burapha University in Automation Park in the EEC area, and King Mongkut in Lat Krabang. So actually, EI, we have to like the joint catalyst of the many industry that use the electrical and electronic products. Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you for that. And just a following question to your point, you know, in the recent 2 years, right, we say, hey, there's a pandemic. Number two, there's also a little bit of the China and US trade war, right? How have you seen that impacting Thailand? And I use Vietnam as an example. You know, with all these things happening, you see Vietnam's business and industry actually booming. Do you see that happening in Thailand as well? And could you share?
Yes, sure. Your question hit to my point. It's we got some information from the banker analysis that there are some company from China. Actually, it's not the main China. I mean, I have the name like Delta Electronics, Kyocera, Ricoh, and Sony. These four companies have a big project to move some kind of products to Thailand.
Amazing.
But it's not only Thailand. They move to Vietnam. They move to maybe Indonesia or something like that. And we know that we are exempt from the trade war of the state and the mainland. So maybe this is the key. And the BOI has show that the investment in the electrical and electronic industry is growing up around 15% last year.
Wow, that's huge, huh? 50%, 50.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, 15%.
15%. Got it.
Yeah.
No, thank you for that. And I think it's important for the audience to take note that it used to be one manufacturing location to the rest of the world. And I think now we are moving to more regional supply chain, right? Can you manufacture within the country for the country, or can you manufacture within one country for the region? And I think that then brings a lot of questions around within the Southeast Asia region, and with respect specifically to Thailand, right? Given that you have been in, I call it high-end manufacturing. Automotive has been a very strong core manufacturing in Thailand, and that was in the 70s and 80s already, right? It speaks to the base of technological standards that is there in Thailand. And of course, now with the pandemic in the last couple of years, things have accelerated. Sounds like it. Okay, I'm going to switch gears to Chat Chai. Chat Chai, would you share with us, because you provide a lot of that consulting, automation, hardware, software, and things like that, especially with gripping and work holding systems. Would you share a little bit about how that has come into play in this specific E&E industry?
All right. Thank you, Glenn, and hi everyone. Kun Nuwong, Kun Niwat, Kun Yasika. Yeah. As everybody know that Thailand is a hub of automotive for a long time, and then EV is coming. I would say threat and opportunities. Industry has been changed from manpower, lack of manpower. So they are talking about how to automate manufacturing, which is I come to this part because start from handling things like jig figure products by manpower or crane or some equipment. They change and they move to robotics moving. And then that's the big change because automotive industry has to think about how to survive because some of our customer making some gear production or related parts. So they are changing as well. That's the I would say threat and opportunities. And also that I'm the member of TGI. I have seen a lot of moving from other countries for investment. I can see that we have to increase our skill of the manpower regarding to the automation. So at the moment, if we ask some company to start up automation system in the factory, they would say like what people what department engineer to locate into this automation system. They have engineer from production, from engineering, from maintenance. Would they promote somebody in this area to be an automation engineer, or would be better to recruit somebody from outside to be, because since they want to develop, they want to move forward, but they lack of manpower. So this is our job at TGI, and I'm also a member of TARA, to how to develop manpower skill and sharing. So this is the challenge for Thailand.
Okay, and very interesting you mentioned this, because the reality is that many countries face the same challenge, because literally it's a big step function shift to a new set of thinking, a new set of skill sets, right? So I want to throw this question out to any one of the four of you, and it's actually a question from the audience. The question is, how do you suggest a business that is not familiar with technologies today to start transforming to be more digitally focused? And I want to open this to the floor because it's a very generic question, but then again, you sense a lot of the fears. I want to do, but I don't know where to start. Anyone wants to take this?
Let me.
Okay. All right.
All right. I also have some questions similar like this. They said they are SME factory. How they start automation with the lack of money, investment, manpower, and small company is not fruitful for employee. So they have problem with employee turnover, things like that. So I said, you can start automation very easily at the end of the line of production, because all manufacturing, they produce something, right? They produce something, they put something in the box, and then you do palletizing. So start with palletizing, with packing, then you learn about automation, then you learn about ecosystem of automation. That would be start point. Talk to the guy who knows how to start, and start with the not difficult, easy to understand, and then start from there. I think the automation is still helpful for everyone.
No, thanks a lot, Chak Chai. Anybody else wants to jump in to add to what Chak Chai has mentioned? Niwat or Niwong, or even Kasika?
For my idea, as I invest with the customer for the automation, normally the customer want to invest with the production and have big impact for them. And I prefer, because I prefer to the palletizing as the Mr. Chachai recommend. Many customer they know what they know is easy to the invest of the automation, but the not like ROI or the something cannot to present of the board of the committee like that. And if the first start of the big impact of the production, they can invest either faster for my idea.
Okay. Okay. So
Thank you.
sounds like yourself and Chat Chai have the same theme around start with something easy to understand, easy to see returns immediately. Sounds like it. And that's what both of you have suggested, the packaging and palletizing section, isn't it? Okay. No, this
Also
is
because
good.
I think palletizing very easy, but I did also, but I not get to like the palletizing a lot like that. Thank you.
Okay, no, thanks a lot, Kasika. Now, I think we are about we've got about 10 minutes to go, I think. So we can do a little bit more question and answer. I want to focus specifically around, and this is because people listening in will want to know, why is Thailand so different from Vietnam or in Indonesia, where if I want to come in to invest, what would differentiate Thailand from the rest of Southeast Asia, for example? What would you say to that? And in the context of obviously I 4.0 and manufacturing, you know, and the circular economy, right? What would you say to what makes Thailand so attractive compared to the other sizable countries where labor is cheap as well? You know, what would you say?
Let me, Glenn.
Sure.
Right. Beside of durian and sticky rice, so I think we are the best, obviously, hopefully. But Thailand has the government subsidized not only to the demand side, also supply side. So it's good for a system integrator from other countries. You want to cope with this demand. So we have, like, as Mr. Tui said about intensive from the government, BOI, they said 50%, right, intensive to tackle reduction. But there is another one, is 100%. 100% incentive means that the factory pay nothing, but get something, right? But to get that 100%, you need the local system integrator, at least 30% of the total budget, total project. But as long as we know that system integrator in Thailand, we have quite busy for this, but to be 30% of the total budget would be quite tough, because as you know that all the device that we import from other country is a huge number of money already. So to be 30% of the total budget, so it's like to be like design, engineering design, or something else that make 30% make sense. So if foreigners like system integrator from others want to join, to come to Thailand, you will not have this advantage. At least you join venture with Thai, because this only subsidized to Thai company. I mean, okay. Supply side to get that
right
automation.
No, I think it's very interesting you mentioned that, because I think it goes back to this thing that you're talking about, and that is that if you look at a country and what differentiates a country, it is the leadership. Because you got good leadership in place, you get good incentives, you get good support infrastructure, policies, and things like that. And so I think Chacha, what you mentioned is, look, you know, there are 50% incentives, but there's also 100, and there are of course terms and conditions. Why? Because any government and any country will want to make sure that you upgrade your people's skill sets. And the way to do it is when you get the local content, right? Be it raw material, know-how, or whatever, and that drives the economy to another level. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Anybody else want to chime in? What makes Thailand different from the rest? Besides durian, as Chai mentioned. Oh, by the way, just a fun fact, I will be coming into Thailand tonight. And I'm excited because I want to get to Yavarat. That's my favorite place. Okay, so 2 nights in Thailand, see some customers, but looking forward to the lovely food. Anyway, back. I think no one wanted to say something. Sorry.
Okay. I used to from the I used to hear from the entrepreneur of the automotive and electronics that if in case of the automotive pay the bonus higher, the worker from electronic side move to automotive. And some year automotive is not so good. They move back to electronics. So it's a very headache for the owner of the factory. So
Yeah.
However, I think in Thailand we are strong point in the NDA. We can keep the secret or trade secret very well. Yeah. And the owner of technology maybe a safe place, I think. But it's not mean that Thailand have no technology by itself. We have, but however, we have to adjust some balancing of the technology and the commercial price. And however, we cannot compete with the mainland in case of high technology.
Okay, thanks for that. Now, it's very interesting you mentioned something, and I want to share this with you. You mentioned, you know what, the workers move from electronic to auto to electronic. What you're telling me is that in Thailand, our workers are cross-trained. So they are multi-skilled, is what you're saying, right? No, but that's lovely. And I think, as you mentioned, high technology and talking about IP protection, I think that's very critical for the high-tech industries, audience, right? Just to take note of that, because that's going to drive a lot of making sure that your value is not compromised if IP is leaked. So I think you hear it because automotive, being there for many years already, was considered at one point in time very high tech. And of course, now there are other more high tech things that have come about with the circular economy. So take note of that. I'm going to pass you all back to Nupat because I think we are about up for time. But I want to thank you, each and every one of you, panel speakers, Kasika, Chai, Niwong, and Niwat for your time. And I've learned a lot. So if I can come back in again this time around, I'll check up some of you guys for some durian and some local Thai cuisine. Yeah. So back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, our speakers. That was very insightful and lively discussion, I must say, when we enjoyed it. And without further ado, we will move on to our next session. It's a case study on industrial automation solutions from ST Microelectronics, brought to you by Mr. Alain Lagaska. Alan, sorry for mispronouncing, Mr. Alan Lagaska, Head of Automation Competence Center, Marketing Director for Industrial Products, Power Discrete and Analog Products for Asia Pacific, ST Microelectronics. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nupat. So good morning, everyone. And I'm Alan Lagaska, Head of Automation Competence Center in Asia, here to guide you on industrial automation solutions from ST Microelectronics. Okay, so let me start with a brief introduction of ST Microelectronics. And we are one of the world's largest semiconductor company with 80 sales and marketing offices across the globe and 13 manufacturing sites operating in many countries. As you can see, we are also a member of many groups and alliances related to social responsibility and environmental sustainability. So our strategy stems from three long-term enablers: smart mobility, power and energy, Internet of Things, and connectivity. This guide our market positioning and customer engagements, continuous and open innovation processes, product and IP design, and technology R&D efforts and manufacturing investments. There is a significant growth opportunity for ST in industrial because this market is also undergoing a deep transformation, very similar to the automotive one, driven by first, the digitalization of devices and systems, including the integration with the cloudification. This includes manufacturing logistics, automation and robotics, and various autonomous systems. Second, energy management and power efficiency improvements, including power efficiency of manufacturing machine, energy infrastructure, transportation, home appliances, as well as battery-based electrification of devices and systems. We target three domains in industrial market. First is the factory automation, which is the topic today, and industrial infrastructure. The largest part, of course, is the automation, power energy, transportation, test and measurement, and lighting. Second, we target also consumer industrials, which includes home appliances, smart buildings and homes, and power tools. And lastly, a more specialized part addressing, for example, healthcare and aerospace. We address this very fragmented market broadly through large and global OEMs, more specialized in regional OEMs, mass market, and distribution partners, from products to solutions with deep application focus, knowledge, and support. ST's unique competitive advantage in industrial is based on our ability to offer a complete product portfolio for embedded processing, power and analog solutions, sensors, as well as the competence to bring these all along together in optimized products and solutions for our customers. We have business operation in Bangkok for different activities with 13 employees year to date. And in line with our 3 long-term enablers, ST activities in Thailand is also focused on 3 main areas: power and energy, motor control and automation, which is in line in ITAP topic today. So for the first case study, allow me to introduce this case in smart home and building automation with one of our global customer based in Thailand. This is a KNX ecosystem where ST is able to address a solution with certified chipset. And for those who are new in KNX standard, KNX offers much of the same functionality as the well-known lighting control protocol called DALI, Digital Addressable Lighting Interface, but without the need to individually address each lighting fixture. KNX also allows the expansion to heating, ventilation, or HVAC, audiovisual equipments, security, remote access, and many more inside smart home and building automation. SDKNX solution supports these multiple applications, both wired connectivity with our KNX TP and wireless connectivity with KNX RF solutions, following the KNX global standard. This use case that I'm sharing today is based on 2 platforms. The wired connectivity is using SDKNX plus STM32, wherein the KNX license stack is managed by the MCU, while the SDKNX is the mini transceiver connected to the twisted pair. The wireless connectivity is using our S2LP sub-1G transceiver and the Blue Energy Bluetooth SoC, which is also managing both the Bluetooth 5 communication and the embedded MCU contains the KNX firmware license stack. This success case in Thailand started in the KNX lighting application and is now extending to manage different smart home and building automation application. ST is also a KNX member, which gives us full access on alliance directions, including the integration of energy management system using KNX for consumer PV inverters and charging stations. For factory automation, I took a couple of success cases in China, and I was looking at the discussions previously. I think this is also relevant in Thailand. With collaborative robots or cobots, which is becoming more popular, which is part of the evolution of the industrial robots that is working on pre-programmed parameters. Cobots allow interaction with workers in the same production space in a safe and reliable way. Cobots already extended the application as well in the service industry, where you see today unmanned robots navigating through restaurants to deliver food and avoiding obstacles along the way. This success case covers a full set of system-level solution with the inputs coming from the industrial sensor and executed by either the robot arm or industrial actuators like the IO-Link LED indicator example in here, which is one of the simplest example, but also relevant in the manufacturing process to indicate safety levels. As this full IO-Link solution had been adopted in programmable logic controllers or PLCs, digital input-output master devices hubs, IO-Link RFID for data gathering and updates, and more, including the 6-axis collaborative robot for factory automation. ST's Automation Competence Center, which I'm heading, is enabling and driving these solutions from software processing, application layers, firmware license stack with our STM32 microcontrollers, including PI devices for both master and slave device, motor control for industrial robots, represent designs, and also power management. As you see on the top slide, there are several products that we offer for this automation. And STM32, which is one of the most popular device for processing, is including all the ST power, as well as the ST spin, the wireless and analog, and so on. And these activities in Thailand are supported by the three focused industrial competence centers: power and energy, motor control, and automation competence center. As you can see, the three competence center are strategically located in many locations in Asia. And we have also one in our Bangkok, Thailand office. Embedded into our ambition, we are committed to sustainability for all our stakeholders. Here, we are investing to further accelerate our efforts by creating technology for a sustainable world in a sustainable way. Our commitments here go back more than a quarter of a century, and we have the goal to achieve carbon neutrality by 2027. And again, thank you for today's session. I was also trying to convey one more key point, given 1 more minute. ST had been starting the automation competence center in China, and we have seen a lot of growth by building on ecosystem with different parts of the automation process, working with partners, involving as well different partners and suppliers in order to build up, let's say, from the computerization side, which is the cloud connectivity, down to the actuator sides, including the sensors and actuators. So as part of the team in Automation Competence Center, feel free as well to extend if you have any question for us, and we are also willing to provide those services in Thailand. As I mentioned, we also have an office in Thailand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation, Mr. Alan. So our final session here is a panel discussion moderated by Glenn. He will lead the discussion panels on the key drivers of initiatives toward the biocircular green economy, also called BCG, how automation is enabling value creation and innovation, impacting production, and lastly, how opportunity and collaboration and partnership can overcome these unique challenges. Yep. Okay. So now over to you, Glenn.
Thanks so much, Nupad, and hello everybody. I'm back again. And this time I have a new set of esteemed panel members with me. I want to introduce each one. Firstly, Dr. Panita Pongpaibul. She is the Deputy Executive Director at NECTEC. NECTEC stands for National Electric and Computer Technology Center. And this is part of the Ministry of Science and Technology. And what NECTEC does is it focuses a lot on R&D for electronics and computing, as well as collaborations that you heard Alan speak about earlier, whereby you will see this natural stream now where a lot of companies don't go in themselves, but they go in as part of a group, a consortium, or in a partnership, right? So there's Dr. Panita for you. Dr. Butra Bunliang. Dr. Butra Bunliang, I would summarize how you will remember him. Basically, he is all about chemicals, right? So he knows a lot about chemical business models. He knows a lot about chemicals, applications, processes, and of course, now he heads not just the head of technology strategy and portfolio management at SCG, he's also in charge of climate resilience office as well. So welcome, Dr. Putra. Right, Mr. Prichai Tranita, did I pronounce it right? Yes, Mr. Prichai is the Managing Director of Yokogawa Thailand. And you will notice that in Thailand, as even in the previous speakers, there is actually a very significant footprint of Japanese companies there. But that speaks then to the quality standards that Thailand holds, given that Japanese companies are willing to invest, and that has been many years ago. So Mr. Pichai has been in process control instrumentation, both with strengths in his technicals as well as marketing and sales, and very, very familiar with the Japanese culture and Japanese standards of manufacturing, because he was also with Minibay, and Minibay is just another Japanese manufacturing company. Because in the past I did work with Minibay, and they are in the disk drive industry. I don't know if things have changed, but it was many years ago. Yeah, so welcome, Pichai. Yeah. Last but not least, we have Wilawan Atiwana Nanun, and she is the director at Pharmaceuticals and Medical Supplies LP. She is also a managing director of Omnimax company, and has got a master's in engineering, in industrial systems engineering, as well as she's also a professional engineer in the mechanical engineering space. So welcome, Wilawan. All right, so I'll kick this off with Dr. Panita. All right, and if you could share with us, what is the role of your organization in supporting Thai manufacturers towards their transition to Industry 4.0?
Hi, everybody. NECTEC is a focus center on digital technology, and currently the ministry, the government has an initiative in the EEC area, as you may know, and our organization is hosting the EECI, the Eastern Economic Corridor of Innovation, and with that, is in the Rayong province, and we are hosting the Sustainable Manufacturing Center. This is a new center with the government initiative to bring in advanced digital Industry 4.0 technology closer to the manufacturer in Thailand. And I'm heading this center, and we are hoping to help the industry in 5 ways. One is to help them know about their current status and what is their problem, and which is the thing that they should improve first. This is we call assessment. Secondly, we help them with the training, upskilling and reskilling the personnel. And third is we have a consultation service to help them choosing the right technology, and most importantly, choosing the incentive that suits to them, such as like tax incentive or like soft loan, because a lot of factory are not don't have access to that. And lastly, we have a test bed service. We have like equipment that the system integrator or factories can come in to play with or test out their idea or create proof of concept, and before they decide to adopt the technology.
No, thank you so much for that, Anita. Dr. Brutron, my question for you is, if you could share with us a little bit about how your company has taken on that digital transformation journey with the tools. If you could share that a little bit as well.
Hi, first of all, just let me say that it's very good to be here to be participating in an event like this. For SCG Chemicals, I'm talking just the chemical business units under the SCG conglomerate. So let me just paint a picture that how BCGs are governing our directions. So because we are polymer producers, and in the polymer world, everybody look at us as somewhat a bad guy from the chemical industry, because we are largely fossil based. So we need to do something. We can't just not just sit there and not doing anything. So we integrate BCG thinking and also ESG thinking and SDG thinking. So basically everything into one, into our business strategy. So it boils down to 4 words for SDG chemicals. And these are the words that everybody already heard from somewhere else. Reduce, recyclable, recycle, and renewable. And all these 4s are basically how are we going to the market with this strategy, but underlying that with digital tools. So basically for reduce, for example, we are reducing both our CO2 footprint using the advanced control at least for all the production plants, and we are coupling with the digital twin and AI. So we are expecting to launch a digital twin tools within the next couple of months, and also integrate it to AI modeling and into the real production plan over the next few years. And we are basically pull the string together of all our footprints, whether it's in Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia, into one unified center that's digitally control the processes. The next R is recyclable and recycle. So I think you can think about at the beginning of value chains until the end of value chain. So recycling and recyclability are very much aligned. In terms of recyclability, we are working with our customers using the modeling tools to come up with a design of the product and the polymer properties that serve the market and also can be recycled later. So basically using the digital aided computerized design to help the product be more BCG oriented. And last one for renewable, I think renewable can be both renewable feedstock and renewable power. And we all know that Thailand are hoping to increase the amount of renewable power within over the next few years. And I think we are expecting, we haven't worked so much on renewable power, but we're expecting to be seeing smart grids and blockchain technology that could also impact our businesses as well. So those are the tools that we are already deploying and expecting in the future.
No, thanks a lot for that. And as you mentioned, that it's very interesting to hear. Earlier, I think we had Tawi, I think, mentioned about the fact that, hey, in general, in Thailand, we are between 2 and 3.0. Yeah. Sounds like you're closer to the 3+ range. Yeah. I mean, going into digital twinning is not something that most people would think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think to your point, a lot of the time, investing in another factory, investing in another machine line, I think that drives a lot of that carbon footprint. And the fact that you're using technology to try to optimize and maximize your capacity and subsequently even, doing digital twinning does help a lot, rather than you build and then subsequently you realize, oops, I think I've got too much, because there's a spike and trough, right? So thanks for that. Prichai, our question for you would be, given that you have been working in the processing industry, right? What are some of the game changers that you see for companies of that nature to achieve their BCG goals?
I think the major S-curve industry is the industry that consume energy intensive in their manufacturing process. So I think the major changer will be, of course, digital transformation, and big data is the game changer to those industry, because based on my experience, I think even the owner of plant people, they also may not fully understand what is the gap or opportunity to improve their production to get more efficient. Yeah. So this is the my opinion. And we Yokogawa, what we can help the customer is we will emphasize our core competency and expertise to track and manage those data, as well as our digital solution to indicate the IT and OT solution together, especially in the digital manufacturing, production, and the processing line. So as our Yokogawa, Japan headquarters also have one point that we want to emphasize. Our Yokogawa, Japan headquarters also declare that they will achieve the carbon neutrality in year 2050, which is another 30 years from now, quite far, because we try to research and develop our technology and solution, such as carbon capture unit solution. We also have the other solution like a energy management system to support those customers who want to make the carbon neutrality in the near future. I think this is a very important thing. I think we can support on the BCG to make those industry to achieve their goal as well. Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you, Prichai. And if you notice, just for the audience, being in the process industry, you cannot see anything. Everything is in some pipe or some tube or something. And that's why I think to your point, Prichai, what you talk about is that use of data management systems to guide your decision becomes even more critical, right? Compared to an industry where people can touch, feel, and hold their product. You can't really see that, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
So thanks. Now, Wilawan, I also want to ask you the same question because yours is another very interesting example of another industry in the pharma and medical supply space. How do you think the game changer is as far as BCG is concerned in your industry?
Actually, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can, Wilawan.
Yep.
Great.
Actually, in pharma and then in food industry, there
Brilliant.
are quite a few things that we can do. According to our country, major industries, food industry, that we export a lot of food like as a kitchen of the world. So there are a room for improvement to develop the value-added product from our raw material that we can grow in our country in agricultural field rather than export as the raw material to the world. We can develop some active ingredient or some high-end ingredient that could be utilized for nutraceutical, for pharma, or for cosmetic industry. So those are the product that could be go to the next level from the raw material. And then because we are the machine manufacturer, and then we develop the process all together with the customer. So it means that we need to understand the process requirements, and then what is the optimal condition, and then the control system or the process that customer needed to control to achieve the optimum solution for the manufacturing. So if we understand that, it means that we have to incorporate the sensors and then the collect data and control the system to be able to go to the next level as well, from industry 2.0 to 3.0, and then finally to 4.0. It means that we need to capture the data and then analyze those data and make the process become really fully automated in the final goal. However, in Thailand, there are room for improvement because each manufacturer are in different stages. As I think some other speaker has mentioned before, some probably in the 2.0, some probably already in 3.0, and some heading to 4.0. So there are a lot of things that we can do and room for improvement. So we are working with customer and then with the researchers as well as university in Thailand, according to different level that there are in. And the problem of Thailand is that we are not a huge country. And we have a diversity and level of technology is different as well. So it means that for each solution, it needs to be customized. And then to have a customized solution, it's very difficult to find a company that could work with you to customize that solution for you. They need to understand what you need, and then what is the process requirement that significant to control. So that's the important things, not only to get the digital information, but to have a know-how on that part.
Okay.
That's what I want to share.
Thanks, Wilawan. And you mentioned that you spoke quite a lot around the food sector, and the good news is you also have the pharma sector. How do you see the difference between these two sectors from two angles? Angle number one, the digital transformation readiness or progress. That's one. Second one will be the gravitation towards this sustainability or BCG play. So I give you a loaded question, but so I just summarize. One, how do you see the difference between these two industries on the BCG play, and then the other one on the digital transformation journey?
In food industry in Thailand, there are a lot of waste. There are a lot of waste from our production that some of them, if you don't think much, we just burn that and make it into energy in the boiler or to heat some process. However, that waste can create a value. So in that perspective, those kind of waste could be bio-circular green industry, another new industry for those manufacturers that are in the food. So there are a gap there that they don't know how to make it become money. So once you just burn it, you just burn your money already. If you would like to create that value from that, you need to add some knowledge and then know-how from the researcher in the field who know the technology that could up-level that food waste. Something like you need to use probably some extractor, fermentation process, or probably just dry and then to mill and make it become like a dry product. And then to combine with other ingredients. Actually, in our pharmaceutical industry here in Thailand, we do a lot of that formulation. However, for food, normally what we focus is to eat. For you to feel good about what you eat, taste nice, but we probably do not care about the active ingredients that could use for your health, nutrition, and those kind of things that could be to the next level of the product. And that need to go hand in hand with the researcher to have a clinical trial or some trial with the patient to see that how does it work. So if we work with a researcher in that field, it could also go to the next level of like a herbal product into a medical product or pharma that we can claim for the active ingredient, that how could it be helpful for to promote your life, better health, and then the longevity of your life. So those are some room for improvement that I can see. And then for a digital way that we can help them is that we can help them to learn from food that how much waste, and then how much improvement that we can do on that part. Because from the waste perspective, it means that you sell it as a waste or you burn it down. But if you up level to the next level of activity like active ingredient, then digital can share the knowledge. We can also share the ingredient that are available in the market from one supply chain to another. I mean, from the manufacturer and then up level to the creator of that ingredient into the next level. So if that's the case, it means that we can share that linkage of information to link the industry together. We can also monitor the activity of our industry and then cooperate among the people in the industry to work together to develop the final product. So it means that we can probably use them all without throw them away. Even for the trash that we got from organic waste, we can also utilize it and then use in the composter to make it become like a we call it concentrate fertilizer, and could bring that back to the agricultural people for farmers to use it So it means that it will be 100% waste free. And then it can go back to the people who supply our food to start with.
Okay.
I'm
No,
not quite
thanks.
sure that I answer your question.
No, I think you gave quite an in-depth view around how for the food industry, there can be many things you can do with the waste. And you said, hey, you know what? Why burn it when you can create value out of it? And how do you ultimately create the value that you can ultimately make money out of it? And you did talk a bit about, basically the keyword here is how do you recycle it into something else, right? You talk about recycling into compost. You talk about recycling into other products, and then of course what's required is the knowledge and how do you partner with some experts or researchers to help you out with that, right? And I want to take the word partnership a little bit, and I'll throw the question now over to Prichai. Could you speak a little bit about how your organization also would partner, or what's your partnership or ecosystem model in moving forward in how you do business given this whole BCG focus?
Yeah. For our organization, we are very welcome to be the partner with other, because of course, Yokogawa is majority. We are automation business, and we cannot know all every solution. But recently, the digital transformation and BCG is very become very popular in many industry. So we openly to partner with all. Example, what we do in the one customer sugar industry is like a biomass power plant. So we get a lot of this kind of project and executing, implement all the automation, but in some portion, like some what can I say? Some process know-how, like vacuum or evaporator, it still need the specialist. So we also partner with other company to study together and make the programming solution to make it happen. Yeah, something. And the waste from the sugar plant, they also like I think bagasse, the sugar cane bagasse. So they also make it like a fuel for the power plant. This is also partner with another one company to make it executing together and make it happen as well successfully. Yeah.
Okay.
This guy.
No, thanks a lot, Prichai. And I want the audience to take note of it that as you see this transformation moving very fast and very quickly, especially in the last 2 years, right? I think what you're saying is that, look, if you want to do something very fast, you don't have all the knowledge. And therefore, when you partner, right, it makes that thing come to life a lot faster because we don't have all the knowledge, right? To your point.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
I want to
yes.
ask Putra this question. Partnership in principle sounds very nice. In reality, not so easy to find the right partner. It's like going on a date and ultimately getting married, right? I mean, you have things on paper and you say, wow, credentials very good. Then you get together and then dynamics sometimes click, sometimes no. Could you share a bit about your company's journey with partnerships and what are some of the lessons learned?
I guess partnership, the critical result that we want is 1 + 1 is more than 2. So we need to find, the one that fits with our aspiration. And I think, I know for the fact that we are working with Yokogawa for a long time, since the beginning of our, few first plants in Thailand. And I think my boss is a good friend with Yokogawa Thailand as well.
Thank you.
And apart from Yokogawa, we work, in terms of digital world. I think our main partners are Aviva and Microsoft, and both in terms of the platform for the whole company and the platform for digital manufacturing. So I think the partnership brings in expertise, brings in the values to the inventions or the products. And in the end, it brings a win-win situation for both companies. And for me, partnership can be various different levels. So in terms of research and development, we are partnering with a lot of universities around the world, including NSTDA as well. For technology, I think depends on the readiness level and how much the technology need to be proven on the larger scale. So currently, personally, I'm responsible for a few pilot programs with, CO2 reductions and chemical recycling. Of course, those projects have not included digital into the mix yet because it's still at very, a hard science level development. But in the end, if we talk, let's say, for example, if you link that to BCG, so for chemical recycling, if we have a plant that needs a feedstock that comes in that produce the product in the end, I guess the way the waste was collected, the way the waste was identified, the operation of the plant, and how it was sent to the the polymer plant. I think those one will be controlled digitally. So I guess what I'm saying is the technology needs time to develop. And you need the right partner. And once it is developed, we can deploy a lot more tools to make it more intelligent. And we require partners. I don't think anyone in the world right now can win in BCG or ESG requirement alone.
All right, thanks, Butra. Dr. Panita, because you are looking at it from an overall governing body standpoint, in a way, NetTech, right, being part of the government. You've probably seen a lot of partnerships as well. And how would you say would be the way to facilitate partnerships that will ultimately work? Because I'm sure from statistics, a lot of partnerships usually don't come to life. Would you speak a little bit about how that would be facilitated?
Okay, I can share our experience. For the past 2 years, we at NetTech, we kind of form a consortium of partnership in order to promote the use of industrial IoT in factories. We bring together factories, system integrators, and technology vendors, and also the government, some government bodies. And so our assumption was that, okay, the factories want to do something to improve their production, but they don't know how to start. So we get these technology vendors to they sponsor some of their equipment. So as a good starting point for the factories, we get system integrators who joined to help out with the factories. And we start with something very simple, because by installing sensors to the facilities equipment, such as like chillers, boilers, air compressors, and we tell the factories, okay, we're gonna do some energy monitoring. This is very something very basic, and they're not very afraid. If you say, okay, we're gonna measure your production line or some status of your critical machine, they're gonna be hesitant. So we start with energy monitoring. And what we learned from after 2 years is that this is a good starting point for the factory to, maybe they used to be, before starting, they'd say, okay, we don't want to use cloud computing. We don't want you to send any information over the internet and all those things that they are afraid of. But by introducing, simple technology, they get used to it, and they say, okay, they get benefit. And actually the benefit they get directly is, okay, they see their energy consumption, and indirectly they learn about the status of their machine. they learn the abnormality of their machines. So with this partnership, I think is kind of you need to kind of satisfy all the parties. Technology vendors get to the factory can sample their products, and if they like, they buy more. The system integrator get to show their skill, and they can get the job later when the factory want to expand, and the factory they get to try the technology with the help, with the consultation of like a government, like NECTEC is like a third party who can kind of so you don't have to be afraid. This technology, we guarantee that it makes sense, and it's not too expensive, something like that. So I think that's a way good partnership can be like.
Okay, no, it's very interesting. I captured a few very interesting nuggets of information that you just shared with us, and I'm trying to summarize what you just said. I think the first thing you mentioned, and in a way it does answer somebody who will ask the question, where do I start? Because you're speaking in the context of, let's say, a process type industry, and you mentioned, look, why don't you start with putting in sensors and monitoring, for example, your energy consumption or your machine's performance or whatever.
Machines, yeah, basic
right?
Facility machines.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing what you're trying to say again, similar to what we talked about earlier in the previous panel, where you said, in this case, the first step will be just monitor. Don't do anything, just monitor. Very easy. People feel very comfortable, right? Not too stressful for everyone. And then subsequently from there, you moved on to talk about, once they monitor, they will know what works and what doesn't work, because data speaks the truth, right? And then from there, you did mention also a little bit that, hey, as these things work and people come and find NetTech for advice, if there's one thing that helps out with partnership is the credibility of what NetTech brings to your, so to speak, your customers, right? You say, hey, look, use this technology, use this company, they're trusted. Price-wise, they're reasonable, it's not too expensive. And I think that helps to seal and bond a lot of that partnership, because there is a body that everybody trusts. Because the main issue seems to be trust, effectively, right? And you have to bring trust to the equation, right? So that's very important. I want to throw it now to the panel members as we look at things like this, and anybody can just jump in. What's been your experience with people or factories wanting to get on this bandwagon, and they say, look, you've got so many parties for NetTech to, for example, Yokogawa, or to maybe even SEG, and you all work together. Who in my company do I need to put in front to work with all of you? And there are so many people to work with. Where do I start? What's your response to that from a people side of things?
Can I try first?
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
I guess if you look back over the manufacturing platform over the years, of course, we started off having a production plant. Then the next phase, again, with Dr. Panita said, you need to kind of monitor. You know what you don't know, and you find that the remaining gap, whether to achievable or to perfect. Then we start asking ourselves, whether that could be something that we can attack and make ourselves a bit better in terms of the energy efficiency. And for me, it's sometimes if we don't consolidate that into a bigger picture within the company, it stops somewhere there, because now we're talking about investment and expertise and support and various other things. So I guess from SEG Chemical perspective, I think from the digital side to really take off, it was about 2 years ago when we appointed a digital transformation leader, or at the moment, or a digital manufacturing director, and that's what seems to be where everybody goes to as a single point of contact between the inside world and the outside world. And if that person understands what to be done within the company and the manufacturing platform, and he can then deploy the team to look out for the best solution that suits us. I think that's a turning point within at least SCG Chemical that I saw over the last few years.
Okay, no, thanks for that. Anybody else in the panel want to add to this? Where do I start? You have this party, this party, this party. Internally, who do I pick to work with all these parties? What's the answer to that?
Okay, in my experience, the company that is successful with that digital transformation, I find that come with very good leadership. Like the top executive is the one who really understand and said, this is what we do. If the top executive doesn't, mandate things like that, they just say, okay, go find out what we need to do to transform. What we find is that, okay, the manager come up with some solution and propose to the executive, but then no budget. No
That's
budget.
true. That's true.
Oh, too expensive.
That also happened.
That go very well is like the top executive is directing. Yes.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
this is
we
very
need
good.
it has to be a top-down strategy to a certain extent, including BCG as well, not just digital. I think BCG again also a very top-down deployment.
Okay, no, it's good that you mentioned, because I think our topic tends to straddle two areas. One, there's the transformation, and one, there's this in the context of BCG, right? Villawan or
May I
Pichai?
jump in?
Yes,
Yep. May I jump in?
yes, please
Actually,
jump in.
in pharma industry, there is another party that is very important. That is the Thai FDA. In pharma industry, actually, the regulation is something that regulates the market, and Thai FDA play a big role as well. Because in pharma industry, you have to comply with PICS GMP, which European standard. And then the environment of the facility, you need to control under certain conditions to comply with the PICS GMP. And it's impossible if you do not have the building automation system or building management system to control every room to comply with the pressure, temperature, and then delta P of each room, and then the humidity. According to that, so it means that you need to use the technology of automation to control it. And once that has been regulated, and then you must use it. Customer that have to do that because of the regulation. And then once they use it, they feel familiar. And afterward, they think that, oh, we already know that what is the utilization of our utilities, what is the condition, how much electricity, probably the heat and whatever that you use each day. Then they think about how about machines. Then on the next level, it links to other major equipment afterwards. So they need to feel familiar with the system first and see the advantage of having that. So I think besides having it, we probably go to the next level that we need to analyze the data and make use of that data to reduce costs, to improve the process, to improve ourselves. And then afterward, you look for your next thing to improve. And then that could link to the process afterward, and especially for other things like material handling, the process equipment, packaging machine, and even throughout the logistics system and warehouse.
Okay, thanks for that. Pichai, anything you want to tap? Yeah.
May you repeat your question one more time?
Yeah, so my question was, I think it started off with partnership, where we say, hey, to get certain things going, we work as a partnership. It might be NetTech with, for example, Yokogawa and SCG together, and you're helping a factory. And the question then becomes, with the multiple partnerships, and I, for example, am a factory owner, who am I going to put in front of all of you as a person to drive this change, so to speak?
Oh, yeah. Normally, based on my experience, what we do is we will see this kind of project or something. What is the direction that we want to go, and majority of those projects. We let our partner to lead, and we support or some project. Majority is Yokogawa or solution. Then we also lead, and our partner also support, something like that. This is what we do. Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you. I want to summarize what you all have mentioned just to wrap it up a little bit from this question, right? And I think, so the question again is, if I'm the factory owner, who do I put in front of all of you to manage this? So I will put it not in no order, but in sequential order, based on what I've heard, right? So I think first is there must be a top-down leadership drive to say this is important and we want to make it happen. Otherwise, no budget. That's what we heard just now. Now, after that, then, you heard what Butra mentioned. He says you must then have he uses the word digital transformation leader. So you have the top-down leader that says, call it the king, because Thailand, you are kingdom. Call it the king. The king says, we must do this, very important. Let's set a regulation in place. That's what Vilawan mentioned. So great, we got that. Then who's going to drive it? Then the general comes in and the general says, okay, I am the digital transformation leader and I will work with you, Mr. King, and the rest of the team to make it happen, right? And as you do this and come together, what Prichai just mentioned is interesting. He says, look, there are a lot of these consortium members. One will then have to play the leader role and the rest must support. So if the consortium members are not able to say we support this leader and the rest support, it will be two people trying to fight for leadership or two companies, and that could be a bit difficult. So the whole dynamic and the whole trust that you are talking about must again come in, which we did discuss about earlier on, where I think Butra and Prichai say we are friends, right? And that's why we work very well together. So I just want to summarize this because this whole essence of this whole partnership is easier said than done. But I think the panel members have brought it to life with some of the nuggets of wisdom that they have shared through their years of experience. Yeah. And so this is what we get out of this whole entire BCG partnership model or digital transformation model. The concept and the principles are the same. I'm going to now bring it back to the panel members, and I want to ask each of you to share with the audience what you feel is the most important key takeaway from this session. If you wanted to walk away with one key takeaway, what would that be? I'll start with ladies first. So I'll go with Anita. What is your one key takeaway for the audience?
Okay, I think what we want to advocate is that digital transformation or Industry 4.0 doesn't have to be expensive. I want to emphasize that there are low cost alternatives to do Industry 4.0, such as IoT, sending information to cloud. It's not necessarily a big investment on robots necessary. So I want the factories to try to open their heart and say, okay, you can start small, going step by step, and you can go toward Industry 4.0.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to ask that question to your question. And the question is, when you say it's not expensive, what amount of money are they looking at for a start? For example, you say, let's start off with putting sensors on your machines. What is that amount of money looking like for a start? As a reference point.
I think it depends on the affordability of the company. I have seen the companies who use, say, industrial grade equipment. I have seen factories who use, say, like hobby grade microcontrollers. The price difference may be like 1,000 baht to 10 or several 10,000 baht, something like that.
Okay, no, thanks for that, because it's important the audience know, and they're not thinking of few million baht or something. You're talking in the range of thousands or tens of thousands. Yeah, so just for the audience to know. So thanks for that, Panita. Wilawan, your nugget of wisdom for the audience.
Actually, I think the key point you said, you need to know the value that you get, know the situation that you are on at the moment. Like Dr. Butra said, you know what you know and you know what you don't know. that could be something that if you know that what you don't know, then that could surprise you and make your life change. That, oh, we should catch that and then turn that into something better in our life. So that is the things that you need to make them know first. So first of all, probably you need to have some Excel to get some information to start with, and then aware that what the problem that we are facing, and then afterwards change that into digital display. That would be very simple. So every day you get that information, and then you aware, and afterwards, after you aware, then you will start doing something better.
Right. Thanks for that. So I think your key point to everybody is make sure you keep yourself aware of what's happening, because if you don't, this space is going to move very fast, very quickly. Prichai, your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ken. What is my key message to take away is the digital transformation and BCG absolutely to our audience. We cannot avoid. Yeah, I think everybody have to do to make your company or manufacturing sustainable in the near future. I think we cannot avoid it. So the some manufacturing still manual or still not implement automation. You can consider to implement like a phase by phase, but you have to start better than do nothing. So then later on, after you have the automation, then you can consider like some more information, digital something, then I think it's okay. If you think about this, then please contact to me, Yokogawa. Yeah, thank you. That's all.
All right, thanks, Prichai. And Mr. Chemicals himself, Butra.
All right. I think the key takeaway number were I'll just go over a few points. You need a management top down, right? You need a center of effort, basically, a center or a person. But I think my key message for the audience is it doesn't need to happen overnight. So basically, think big, but start small. So think big means, as Kun Prichai said, you cannot avoid it. You just have to take it head on, saying that, everything has to be digital one day in the future. It has to be BCG one day in the future, depending on the situations. But it doesn't need to be tomorrow. Just take small steps. And because a lot of digital transformation are challenging the old paradigm, the easiest thing that we see is how to, manage paperwork. We used to have arrays of paperwork during commissioning, during EPC phase. And I just talked to another company in Japan last week that they are moving totally to digital. Again, they are challenging the old paradigm of having a signed document, basically. So for me, think big, but start in a small chunk that everybody can manage and everybody can appreciate the starting point, and do a proof of concept to basically show that there's value of doing such things, then expand within the company.
Thank you for that. And I think to wrap it up, for everyone else, again, the key takeaway is think big, start small. You can start as small as a few thousand baht, right, with the energy monitoring system, like what Panita said. At the same time, work with partners, as what Willowan mentioned. She said, look, there are a lot of people in the food industry whereby there's a lot of waste, but they don't know how to convert that waste into something valuable. She uses the word value. So work with partners, that's going to help, right? If you don't know anything else, just copy Chai. All right, I'm going to throw it back to you. I thank you all for your time. It was enjoyable. I hope it is for you as much as it is for me. So have a good rest of the week ahead. Yupat, back to you.
Thank you, Glenn, and thank you everybody. Thank you to all speakers. was very informative, was very lively conversation and panel. We received a lot of key takeaway, very thoughtful key takeaway for us to digest after this. So thank you everybody for sharing your point of view and expertise here. With that, we conclude the ITAP 2022 Voice of the Market Thailand Roadshow. We hope today's session has been thought-provoking and meaningful for you. If you wish to know how you can learn and gain more insight, join us at ITAP 2022 in Singapore from 18 to 20 of October. And just to know that we at GTC is also organizing delegation trip to visit these shows in October. We will let you inform about the program later on. Lastly, please scan the QR code flashed now on your screen to register to attend ITAP 2022 if you want to visit by yourself. And we're looking forward to hosting you in person in Singapore. Thank you for your time for joining today. Wish you all a nice day ahead. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ